Station, this is Observer. We need air to strafe this area. Light it up.
It's so pretty. Love this music. Well, this is Project Wingman, and I hope you guys can forgive that intro. That was some footage spliced with this game from Insurgency Sandstorm, and I wanted to do that just to kind of capture a little bit of the feeling that you get when flying in some of these arcade games, just kind of having all this action. I'm just kind of, woo, just kind of what I like to imagine what I'm doing to help support the forces on the ground, and I just love that moment in Insurgency, and it's definitely one of my favorite things about that game. But anyways, I'm flying the A-10, and the only way to unlock this in this particular game is through a mod, because it was developed but not completed. It kind of got to the final stages, and I think they decided to cut it at the last minute from the game. So that's why, if you've noticed, the flaps aren't moving, and you know, the Vulcan cannon's rounds aren't lining up with the reticle, and it's blowing things up that it's not actually hitting. But it still handles really well, and it's pretty cool. I just want to say for the record too, I'm not using like some HOTAS setup or anything. I'm kind of a casual gamer. I mean, this game is kind of more for casual people. I know even as I'm saying that, people are some super experts that can make all kinds of challenging things out of this game. But it's not like DCS, you know. It's not like some simulator. And obviously, as you're carrying over 100 missiles at a time without having to rearm or anything like that, it's not realistic. And as we're going to see here with all the railguns and things coming up, it's really not. But it's ridiculously fun, and I love it. For those of you that don't know much about Project Wingman, it is definitely a game that is heavily inspired by the Ace Combat series, and we're going to be checking that out a little bit further in depth later on in the video. And I just want to say for the record that I actually enjoyed Project Wingman a lot more than I did Ace Combat 7. I thought Ace Combat 7 was awesome when it first came out. It was just, to me, it was jaw-dropping, and it still is. It's absolutely gorgeous. But story-wise and actually gameplay-wise, I get a little bit more out of Project Wingman, and I think they ought to be commended for that. Graphically speaking, of course, it's not quite as pretty. I thought they nailed the lighting pretty well, but it doesn't quite hold up to par. Actually, it doesn't really hold a candle to Ace Combat 7 at all. But they did their best, and Ace Combat 7 has a much bigger budget and more of a major publisher, and so kudos to them. But one of the interesting differences between the games when it comes to gameplay features is how the chaff works. And why it works the way it does. And so, like I said, they're both very arcadey, so it's not realistic or anything like that. But the way Project Wingman went about deploying chaff is you get unlimited amounts of it, but you can only deploy it once every 10 seconds. And so they give you a bunch of other obstacles to dodge, like, for instance, this rail beam that I didn't even try to move out of the way of. Just went right through that. But they give you a lot more things to they throw a lot more things at you that you can't necessarily disable, or I should say avert, with chaff, because you have an endless supply of it. Whereas in Ace Combat 7, you only have a limited supply of chaff, which is like 3 or 4. So you're still dodging missiles, and you're not dodging, you know, things like you're seeing on the screen with all these, again, these rail laser beams coming at you or anything. But you're not being able to line things on up with a missile coming at you and being able to dispense it right away. You got to be able to dodge it, or take advantage of the mechanic that they have been that they're pushing for, and that's kind of going into cloud cover, which can help break contact. So in that way, it makes the gameplay very different, even though everything flies and handles very similarly. It makes it different enough to be able to get 2 different things out of each game, despite the fact that they're both very similar. So yeah, if you're into something that's a bit more light, kind of on par with the Ace Combat series, check out Project Wingman. You really wouldn't be disappointed. Obviously, there's other jets. Obviously, well, and like I said before, you can't actually unlock this one unless you have a mod. But do check it out, especially if you're into these kinds of casual arcadey games, and like it's a lot of mindless fun. But yeah, let's check out some Ace Combat 7. See how the A-10 handles there.
Locked. Target destroyed. This is Spare 7. Someone get this enemy off my tail. I can't. I've got my hands full too.
High roller missile, take it off.
I'm hit. I'm still at the table. High roller missile. Another one. I've got a bet on me getting out of this.
Ooh, wouldn't have taken that bet. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, this is some Ace Combat 7. The A-10 gameplay in here. And of course, this is actually finished, so the shots do line up with a targeting reticle, and the flaps do work. And it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Picked another desert mission, and you can fly through those clouds like I was talking about before, to avoid missile lock and things like that. I, of course, don't really do it in this mission. It's kind of one of the earlier ones. And while you are dodging missiles and stuff like that, you're not really doing any dogfights. Or rather, there's not as many dogfights to be able to do. So while the option's there, this is mostly about being able to destroy ground targets. So it's a perfect mission for an A-10. Didn't want to be tricky and go through that tunnel back there. Just not that good of a pilot, if you couldn't tell by this gameplay. But no, like I was saying before, I did enjoy this game a lot. I think one of my biggest gripes when it came to the story, it's kind of silly, is it's kind of got that Battlefield 4 problem when it comes to calling out your name. They just wear it out. You get called Trigger 1,000 times, just like how your character Wrecker in the Battlefield 4 campaign, they just kind of abused it. You know, and in both Project Wingman and this game, you are a silent protagonist. So I know that's a silly thing to kind of get worked up over, but if you couldn't tell, I'm kind of an overthinker, and so it's the little things that kind of just stand out to me, and that's what bugs me. The other small thing that I didn't like compared to Project Wingman is all the drone combat. I know that's so weird. It's kind of it's not that I like killing people or anything like that, but there's something. It's like Gears 4, you know? How half the game you just fought against a bunch of robots, and you felt like you weren't really making a real impact. You know, when it's life and death situations, it feels a lot more dramatic, I think. And that's something that didn't quite do it for me. Even though those drones, at least for the most part, some of their concepts and some of the models are real and things like that, that didn't quite, I don't know, it didn't quite do it for me. But anyways, again, just little gripes that I don't think anyone else notices or cares about except for me. I don't know. For those of you who made it this far, what bothers you in video games when it comes to the little things? In particular, when it comes to story. What games were almost perfect if it wasn't for one little thing? I want to hear your opinion. So let me know in the comments what you think. And also what you thought of this video. Obviously, I'm pretty new to YouTube. And I want to get better. There's a lot of uhs and ums, and I debated a lot on whether or not I'm going to edit this stuff out, and decided just to kind of go for it. And so I appreciate you guys watching it. I appreciate it so much that I actually want to give away one of these games. In fact, I'm going to give away one of each of these games, and so there will be some offers there in Steam Keys. I will be selecting 2 comments by the end of the month on who is going to get a Project Wingman Steam Key and a A-10 Steam Key. Obviously, you might have a preference over one or the other, but ultimately, I'm going to try to keep it random. So, like I said, it'll be at the end of the month. So, winners will be announced June 1st. And remember, it is a new YouTube channel, so your odds to win are actually pretty high. Anyways, I'm going to end it here. So, as you guys watch me crash and burn in this mission fail here, really hope that the video was a little bit better than how this mission went. But take care, stay safe, and remember, I am just another YouTuber.